Alright, in this video, I wanted to kind of cover maybe some alternative combinations, strategies, what have you, that you may need to use to replace the Beastmaster meta that was you just using Optico with Creature 72 and Phase to fuel MP and SP healing. Since they made the hypercrit focus on damage instead of increasing rate, it basically means now 10% of the time you get even better lucky strikes. It's a little bit of an odd approach considering the excuse that they give for not developing ideas to enhance weapon specials. The old school traditional 10 and 20 proc weapon special is because players don't like random number generator type ideas. This is why they liked increasing rate on lucky strikes, because they could put together combinations so they didn't have to rely on random number generator. But now they've made it so that if you increase your rate, you decrease your lucky strike damage, and hypercrit was changed from a rate increase to a damage increase. So whereas one idea, we won't do it because players won't like it, but the other idea will do it even though the players won't like it, except for those 4 or 5 people in that one cult that I mention often. It's like a necessary evil, at least in the minds of 5 people who happen to convince the people that have the authority to make these decisions. But I digress. There are some other ideas here. I'm going to first talk about, I get not everybody has this stuff. Just some different ideas here. I'm going to show off this idea real quick. A lot of package stuff, a lot of rare stuff. May be involved, golden gift boxes, token items, but again, this is going to provide an alternative. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my pet and guest here just to show off what I'm talking about. Now, Wishweaver, if you remember, has this exchange ability where you pay 436 hit points to heal your SP. There's some different things that you can do. 436 hit points. This might work out all right if you trained endurance, but for others who don't want to train endurance, so this is talking about mostly about like Lucky Beast Mage or other Beastmasters that train luck instead of endurance, right? So you're gonna have your main stat, you're gonna have your luck, and then you're gonna have to have something else. Your main stat and then charisma, and then you're going to either have to make a decision on luck. More and more, luck's looking less attractive. I would understand if people moved on from it because they've completely and totally fucked it over. Lucky Break, while extremely powerful in specific, very limited, very niche circumstances, on the greater majority of gameplay, it just isn't going to. It's not going to let you win, and it's sure as fuck not as fun as Lucky Strikes was. If you get this Void Pact weapon, it does an extra hit if you do a wind spell as well as regen. What you can do is like you can maybe pick like a we'll say you could pick a regen misc or maybe a heal misc. I'll just use the heal misc here because I'm going to use it in a different setup here shortly. I need to pick up a heal resist shield here shortly too. But I'm going to pay the 436 hit points, but using it with this weapon, I'll give myself regen. So this is an endless supply of SP. Plus I'm using a barrier shield to help protect against some of the hit point loss I'm going to be taking from the mob. So the first one is 0.4 regeneration. So see what kind of healing I can get. So that's 263. So it's not fully making up for the complete cost of the spell, but it should grow slightly every time. At some point it will actually, like there, that time it was 724, so it's beginning to pay for itself. That one, it paid for itself. Now, if you also have Shadow Rend Membrane, it does a quick cast, unlimited clicks per turn regen. You can quickly double, triple, quadruple the hit point cost of Wishweaver. I showed this as an alternative because that spell's not taking up any MP. It's basically costing hit points to convert to SP. That's for the 50 or so players that have Wishweaver. I know that's not going to be for everybody. Now I'm going to move on to this is basically the old setup, but what I'm going to do is the New Wave Bard of War with the New Wave Bard of War weapon. Let's see here. So with this setup, the weapon and the armor will be doing, with magic version, I think about times 2.5 lucky strike rate. So you get about a 25% lucky strike rate, and then plus a plus 25% damage to your water pet. So I'm just going to demonstrate here. I'm just going to hit attack. I might die, but I'm just going to demonstrate here. Basically, the idea here is just to show what this does. See what kind of lucky strike rates we get. There's 2 right there back to back on the actual attack. I'm not sure if it will work on the second turn on Pet and Guest Celerity. So we get here. So the heal part hasn't lucky striked yet. You can also cast a water spell while holding the weapon. You can't chug a potion or skip your turn of any kind. You have to attack or cast a spell, a water spell, for this to work. So as you can see, Faes has not lucky striked its actual MP or SP. There we go, 836. So if you're just going to attack, I guess it's okay. I'll do this again. So we got a water spell, so it should work. And again, if you'll notice, Optico is 133%, at least for now. Or I mean 333% increased pet lucky strike damage. So when it does happen, it'll be fairly strong. So you're getting about maybe 200s with no lucky strike and 700 to 800 with the lucky strike. No other boosts. Like if you wanted to do a charisma boost, you could do that. So that is one method. Of course, that is just a single armor. It doesn't work with every armor. So again, that's something that you need to consider. All right, here's another alternative. This one also doesn't include, this one's not necessarily about MP. So I'm just going to use, I could use, like, for example, this guy. For those that have the old school pet ghost town, now that fear can be inflicted on monsters, let's see if I can eat a little bit of SP here. Now that it can be inflicted on boss monsters, it's basically the purpose therefore it would be to eat it. So let's see, from 713 all the way to 1470. So that kind of gives you an idea. And this was before they cap eating, so fear will be completely gone after the end of this. Can't remember which one of these is fear. I think it's this guy. Yeah, it's this guy. So just anything that does fear. A Nightmare Queen, you could just bring out old school terror armor. Anything with fear is basically fair game. Again, that has nothing to do with MP. It's just focused on SP. Alright, I need to... I think I haven't done this yet. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to swap out my barrier shield for a heal resist. So we're going to move on to heal resist stacking. Let's see, here we go right there. So another thing you can do is heal resist stacking. So I'm going to use an armor. The one that I prefer to use is these Timeless Guardian armors, the fire or the light version. I go ahead and turn on this so that it's damaging MP and SP. Eventually, this will become a regen. You'll start to heal your hit points. Then you have your shield. So now we've got a light and an energy version of this shield, and then there's some other heal resist shields, I believe. And then I'm going to actually wield Oath of Desire. This is a melee weapon, but it's another 12.5. I guess it's a Twilly wand or a Twilly weapon clone. I kind of want them to make a magic. Maybe the Twilly one is magic, but they need to. I'd like to see a magic version of this weapon at some point. And then what I'm going to do, instead of Creature 72, I'm going to bring in Call Festive. Let's see, what is he called? Legionary Guys or something like that. And what this does is it triggers on any monster that has panic to do heal resist. And then we're going to do Order of Terror. But what we're going to do first is we're actually, and this concept you'll see me use repeatedly. This spell right here, Chrono Phoenix, I think it was slept on. They may bring it back this year. I can't remember the timing of it. It might be maybe New Year's, or I can't remember exactly. But it was a token. I think it was a token spell, and it's like overcharged, so your cost is pretty high. So it's $8.99. I think that's a 143 power level version. And then it gives you another turn and your pet and guest 2 turns. It does not have a cooldown like some of these other built-in spells. Like, for example, the weapons from the Timeless Guardian items, I think has a 1-turn cooldown. The Pumpkin Spice one has like a 1-turn cooldown. So the ones built into the weapons have cooldowns. This standalone spell does not. And those other ones I think are just player only. This one actually includes pet and guest, which is why it costs so much. But whenever you cast it, as long as your fire resist is above 50, it'll work. Once it hits 50 or lower, it no longer works. So you'll need to use Prime Chaos Orb to move resists around. And so as you can see, we have Pet Hypercritical at 33 1/3 damage for 1 turn. And then I'm going to go ahead and swap out. And you can go a couple routes. You can do like another, like Ares Rattle Misc, which will be another plus 40%. So you can test both ideas. You can go with the Order of Terror and Honor, which this guy here is going to give you Panic Potence and Heal Resistance. So you're going to need Panic. So that's going to be my second spell here. So I'm going to hopefully inflict Panic. If it does, then this guy, the guest, will have Heal Resistance. It's like around 11, I think. So you got, let's see, you got your Armor, Misc, Weapon, and Shield. That's plus 50%. And then this guy, make it plus 61% ballpark. Which then Faes will actually eat Panic and then heal. The first turn, it'll have the Hypercrit there. If it goes off at that 10% rate, that is more or less icing on the cake. It's a bonus. You can also do, which I haven't brought in, Tribal Shaman to bring in an additional 25% pet damage. I may do that here shortly just to kind of show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and do a Panic spell. Didn't actually inflict there. So Phases eat right here is not going to be worth much. Yeah. So actually, let's go ahead and move on to a different monster. Oh, Samurai Warlord. Cast a spell and blow you up. Alright, let's see what happens with this guy. Hopefully this first one will land. So now we have Panic and all this heal resistance. So hopefully Phase will, you'll get to see without a lucky strike what we're dealing with. 420 on the MP the first time, 307. So you got 720 MP back with this, and lucky strike didn't happen. So here we go again, and it's just rinse and repeat. So 401 there. The 290s there. Alright, so let's do something real quick. I'm gonna actually swap out one of these armors. Let's bring back in Tribal Shaman, and let's see if we can get sorry, some of my categories I group by element. Not everything, but alright. Let's just go here. I personally believe this pretty much pays for itself when it comes to mosquitoes, jellies, and Fey Wanderer. Probably even Plush Mort, which I haven't really tested like a whole lot with Plush Mort. So we've got this heel resist stack here. And I like this misc specifically because of the panic potence. And this idea with this specific armor is that not only is it boosting the heel resistance, so as you can see, you got 1500 lucky strike there, but it also is attacking monster MP and SP, and then once that's low, you're getting regen, which this heel resist stack is boosting that as well. So trying to see if I can get this where Faes won't lucky strike. So we're down to 734 on MP. So now you're starting to see 4 and 500 there. That one was all the way up to 688 because of this stack here. Okay, this time I'm going to swap to Ares Rattle and see if we notice any. If it's lower, if it's higher. All right, let's see what we got with old Ares Rattle. 611 on the MP, 343. So about 950 MP back by doing this. So as you can see, it's maybe not as good as it was, but it's not terrible. Now, what happens if your MP gets so low where you can't cast a spell? This is why I carry Twisted Siphon as a permanent carry. It will supplement your MP. If you noticed that because I'm casting spells, I haven't hit the attack button even once. I'm just casting spells. But my SP bar is pretty much staying full. Even though my guest is costing me SP, Faes is basically paying for it. Now what I can do is go into Twisted Siphon. But before I do, let's do this. I could have been doing this each turn. Let's see where we're at now. Alright, got a new stack going. So I've got all this heal resistant stuff, so I'm going to do Twisted Siphon. And I've got this SP here, so I'm going to go ahead and spend it with the 539 on this option here. And then you got Spellcaster Lean with this, and you're going to get some crazy MP heals. So I'm basically back to the start on MP. And then you can just start over again. Oh, I forgot to do the optical the first turn. $501, 472. That time the SP part actually lucky striked. But as you can see, it's very doable because you're supplementing Twisted Siphon in there. I think Twisted Siphon is a must-have carry for a Lucky Beast Mage, especially now that they've altered all of these things. Alright, let's try this on a real monster. So this is an ice monster. My ice resist is 65. If you go twice with Optico, it doubles it, 666. So if the Faes actually lucky strikes there, it'll actually be pretty crazy. That one was 634. And then here, so I'm not going to be able to do Panic. And this, I could have just casted Word Flame, but what I'll do here I just get probably most, if not all, my MP back, or 1422. That was kind of a low end on the roll there. So let's actually do word flame this time. And you can always use Shadow Feeder Pendant if you're low on MP2. You don't have to just settle for like a different thing, you know. Good, because you're going to have the SP for certain things. And then if you use Shadow Feeder Pendant, you don't have to use the expensive spell here, but it does give you the option. And then you can just come back with this guy. And then you're back to having a pretty good amount of MP, especially since Faes is about to go twice. Kind of a low hit there. There we go, higher hit there. And if you notice, my hit points just stay high. A combination of putting in Panic and the regens that I keep getting with this armor. This is why I think probably this is the best spellcaster armor in the game. This is how I personally feel. I don't really like damage per second playstyles as it is, but as you can see, it's a constant. I mean, you can get as high as 500, 600. If you were to use Tribal Shaman every turn, you could probably get more. I don't know if it's best to stack heal resistance or like best to stack like Area's Rattle with Foam Finger on plus 50% pet mode. I'll try one other idea here. So instead of let's do this and see what we get. So we're going to use Neko Cataclysm, which is basically going to double damage, but I don't know if it really affects Faes too much. Let's see. So let's do Area's Rattle here. And so if Panic inflicts here. Alright, so we're going to get all this heal resistance, a couple heal resistance, but some pet boosting. So that one was 592. 523. So it does look like that using Soul Neko as a method is pretty consistent, kind of similar to using the heal resist stack, to be honest with you. Did I do this already? Yeah. Let's see what we get out of Faes this time. 520 and then a Lucky Strike. Then 993 that time. So maybe doing charges on Soul Neko is another option. Alright, I'm going to go on to my final option here. This one might be my favorite. It's a little bit more clicky. So we're gonna bring on Rubzard. So it's gonna do. We're gonna be luck boosting here instead of what we were doing earlier. So I want to cast Warcaster Panic with the Chrono Phoenix this time. I need to make sure that I get... So I can either go with more Panic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap to Precise Frostveil Crown, not Ferocious. So this is going to double my Lucky Strike rate, but that includes pets to 20%. So you're going to go from 20 to 10, but because of the new lean system, it's going to half the Lucky Strike damage. However, I do have from Optico on that first cast, so this one's going to be more like Hypercritical Pet at half of that. What was that, 160? 6.5 or ballpark, right? So, so what we can do here, maybe we'll go with Oath of Desire. Let's see, what kind of Panic do we have? That should be good. So what I'm going to do actually here is I'm going to do Twisted Siphon. Is an option, but what you could also do is actually click the shield to make sure this is on. Let's see. And if you get a Lucky Strike, it'll give you some luck, but I'm going to go ahead and click this. So now I've got 42 luck, but also if you notice, Rubzard's giving me another 125. And then as you can see, Faes at that double rate just gave me a Lucky Strike at over 800 SP, even though having that double the rate halved my Lucky Strike. So let's see, so we're going to get another 140. As you can see, both of those did Lucky Strikes. We'll do this again. Again, we're going to get some Panic out of this. My hope is one of the dev tickets is a Fire Warcaster. Please, someone submit that. I want to use it with these two spells that I use all the time. So we're going to be luck boosting here. As you can see, another Lucky Strike on my end. So for whatever reason, you're getting Lucky Strikes a little bit more often. And I can't really explain the why behind it. But it should be 20%. You can also use this strategy with that Bard of War. So you're going to get ×3 and then another double. So I think it's going to be like around a 60%. We'll try it here shortly. Around a 60% Lucky Strike rate. And it's noticeable doing the same combination. Come back to this, and then let's come back to this. So now I'm up to 84 plus, let's see what Rubzard gives me, 166. So I'm basically going to have double Lucky Strike rate. I mean double luck. So once you get to, so I have 250 luck. So that's another 84. So we need to add up to 250. So probably one more time. If you notice, my SP is still staying completely full. I'm having a harder time with MP. So now, let's go ahead and click this guy again. So now we've got 132. Let me go to the combat practice trainer here real quick. Fucking backlash. So I'm going to do this again here, and then we'll swap over to the combining a couple of other things here. So we got 83 plus 48, another 131 luck, plus the 250. Alright, so I forgot to use Warcaster to get some panic on here. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm going to keep Warcaster. Just get a little bit more. Alright, got some luck here. Let's see what we get here. So not too bad. Your lucky strikes are going to be lower, of course, because you're having them here. So again, you can combine a lot of these ideas. Here we go doing this. So as you can see, 1100 and 800, and this is kind of what I wanted to show you. So even that right there was 600 and 400. So let's do this. Still has some panic there. Skipping a turn as a Beastmaster is completely fine. You're relying on your pet and guess damage anyway. There's another 1200. And see, keep in mind, that's half lucky strike damage. It's because you're luck boosting, and it's because the Iron Hoof Shield and the Rubzard luck are listed separate. So we have 150 there, plus the 83. Solneko has another 50, so we're basically, let's see, are we at 500 there? Yeah, I think we are. We're already at 500, which is the cap. So in this example, we would no longer need to be clicking on the shield unless we wanted to cap it, and then it would just start giving us a barrier. And then I wanted to show one more idea. Let's see here. Trying to get my SP kind of low here. All right. So a lot of people forget that Solneko has an SP. Heal skill. I'm going to show you the difference here. So this is no heal resistance. So we're at 505. And you just click this guy here. So that's 395 SP. So now I'm going to load up with heal resist stuff. So let's go ahead and flick panic so that the guest will do its thing. And then now I'm going to swap to Solneco. So in this case, we're about 50-ish% because I don't have heal resist on the armor, but 395 just became 592. So those are some ideas in a nutshell. Of course, you have dual mosquitoes. Just use a lot of wind Elevons. If you have jelly, if you want to use ice version or energy version, use a lot of Elevons there too. And so these are just some options or some combinations and ideas that I personally would recommend doing. One of the things I just find myself also doing is just doing this basic thing. Chrono Phoenix, and then follow that up with siphon. So you're going to get basically everything you spent on Chrono Phoenix as long as all 3 hits land, and then whatever phase gives you is like icing on the cake. And you can just repeat this as long as fire resistance is above 50%, like I said. As you can see, you have Spellcaster Lean plus some resist stacking. And if phase isn't healing your MP quite like what you want, again, that's why you have siphon. It's there to supplement, and you're taking advantage of your lean. And with this specific armor, it's boosting it, plus it's giving you regen, so it's keeping your hit points full too. So this strategy is basically designed for defense by knocking out monster MP and SP, giving yourself regen and just resource regeneration. But that is it for this video. Let me know what you think.